Hello everyone, Aurora Jones here from the Mastermind Fever team. Unfortunately, my mastermind partner Lydia Brown will not be here this evening, but you've got me and you've got Andrew Nathan, who is our wonderful guest for this evening. Before I carry on, I would like to share with you quickly what the Mastermind Fever team is about. So we gather once a week, we host hangouts, and we help people on Facebook to find a mastermind partner and also to challenge themselves by hosting hangouts and becoming the leader that people are looking for. Hosting hangouts, if you are not doing it, you are missing out. So, do what you can to host hangouts. It's going to give you a lot of credibility as a leader and a lot of exposure. Also, the second thing I would like to talk about is, I'm going to share my screen with you right now, is that, so as I said this evening, we're going to have Andrew talking about how to create dynamic content to engage your audience. But also, I wanted to say a very big thank you to all the members in the Mastermind Fever team who've been helping us with the two back-to-back contests that we had recently, one with Kate McShay and the other one with Tanya Eliza. So thank you so much for your help, for your support. You were absolutely terrific. So now, without any further ado, we are going to have Andrew Nathan, who is going to share with us how to create dynamic content to engage your audience. And, that's the thank you evening today, because I would like to thank Candace, because Candace introduced us to Nathan Andrew. And Nathan, was the first time I meet you today.
Yeah, we just met a few minutes ago, so it was good.
Absolutely. So I'm going to remove my screen, and Andy, Andrew, the floor is now yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to make sure that, 'cause I just want to make sure people could see my screen. So I don't know if it's clicked on you or just want to make sure. I don't know if people could see my screen share. Just let me know first.
Yeah. Right now I can see that you are sharing the screen, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure that it's actually visible because you never know. So, okay, so I'm just going to, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I created here today, but a lot of times when I start going through the PowerPoint presentation, I like to just start going in and showing live information because it's for me, being part of creating dynamic content is actually creating something dynamic while we're talking. So also feel free to ask any questions. I will stop from time to time to answer them. Also, Aurora, since I do have the PowerPoint presentation on, just let me know if someone does have questions or if they can't hear me or something like that, because with PowerPoint on, I can't actually see what's going on for comments.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. So what we're going to talk about today is creating dynamic content for your business. And my name is Andy Nathan. I am a freelance contract writer, a blogger, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been creating content for about 5 years now, and a lot of it has been fun. I'm a little bit kooky, so as you might have noticed from some of the pictures here. And as I like to tell people, I've been a certifiable blogger since 2010. What happened was that in 2009, I left being a mortgage broker, and I was using Twitter and Facebook, and all of a sudden my family said, you should do this as a business. And I said, great. So I started doing it as a business. I started doing social media consulting. And the problem with that was that I didn't actually have a good way of showing people how I did this and how to actually build my business. So someone told me you should start blogging. And I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, my grammar was horrendous. And in fact, even my wife said, I don't understand how you make a living writing because your grammar is horrendous. To my response, I always say, have a great editor. So the point of what I'm going to talk about today is I want to talk about the 5 different ways that you could actually build your business and create a dynamic content with blogging, because there's so many different cool things that you can do with blogging, and I want to talk about the 5 aspects that I've found have been the best in actually creating that content. First thing is writing to your audience. You have to make sure that when you're blogging that you actually have an audience in mind. The idea that you're going to write to everyone is bogus, and it just doesn't happen. Secondly, you have to be able to tell stories. A lot about building your business is storytelling. Notice how when I started off talking, I didn't go just straight in and say, this is how you do it. This is step 1, 2, and 3. No, I talked about how I'm a certifiable blogger because it's fun. Third, I use different media to engage. Use different media to engage your audience. You can't just be doing writing anymore. You have to be using video and images. People are in a modern world. They need to have different stimuli to actually engage. That's why we're on a Google Hangout right now. Fourth, you have to figure out how to find great topics for your audience. And fifth, you have to optimize your content for SEO. Yeah, it's not like it's 2005 and you could just keyword stuff, but it is still important, and it's something that's definitely helpful when you're writing your content because it gives some good guidelines. So let's get started first of all with writing to your audience. First thing you want to do is if you want to write to your audience, you have to know what they want. So I pulled this out. This is a survey. I have Gravity Forms on my site. Gravity Forms is actually a paid plugin, but it's such a nice plugin to have. I use it a lot for just doing surveys from time to time. I also use this contact form. And one of the best things I did was about a month or two ago when I launched my latest book, I created a 2 or 3 question survey. And I asked people, what was your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur? What takes up the most time in your day? And I was asking this people offline and online because I was doing a few speaking engagements, and some of the things that people were telling me were just like jaw-dropping. I never even thought about it before. And a lot of those, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, I turned them into blog posts. But when you talk about your greatest fear, and I'm looking for it right here, a lot of people, I didn't realize how many people actually, their greatest fear in business is not that they won't find clients. It's that they'll find clients, and then those clients will hate them. Well, if I had never asked about that, how would I actually know to actually write about it? So now that I know that that's a fear that people have, that they're afraid not only of getting clients and how to get clients, but also how to keep them, it's something to write about. So writing to that audience is really a big way to do that, and creating a survey definitely helps. Additionally, you need to find your tribe. Seth Godin is amazing. If you've never, he's one of the few people who actually has a TypePad blog that people read on a regular basis, sethgodin.typepad.com, and he wrote a book called Tribes a few years ago. It really influenced me in terms of how to organize my own business, because a lot of what he talks about is that people in today's society, you might not be able to influence every single person, but if you have a tribe around you, you could do amazing things. And he talks about how, especially with the internet today, there are so many people who are going out and actually connecting with people around the world about similar topics. If you could do the same, that's how you build your tribe. And it's the same thing as picking your audience. If you're selling to them, that's okay, as long as you're delivering something of extraordinary value to them, and being part of that tribe might be that case. One of the ways that I actually got involved personally in tribes, I belong to a number of groups. One of them is particular, and this is a screenshot from them. It's called Triber, and this is actually a little bit of an older screenshot now that I look at it. But I've been a member of this tribe for about 3 years now, and Triber is a great way to connect with other bloggers and other people in your niche. And one of the things I think about writing to your audience, we all, as bloggers, we all sit and we write down something on a computer. We sit in our own little spaces, and I know I do this. And I'm actually one of my big things is getting out and actually going out to networking events, because I like to meet real people, so I can actually find out what they're talking about. And on Triber, I get to connect with people and bloggers across the world, and some of the connections that I've made through this have been amazing. So when I talk about picking your audience, I don't just mean finding out who you want to become clients. I mean finding out who could be power partners as well. Your tribe is more encompassing than just clients. It should be the people that actually support you as well. So that's the first thing to creating dynamic content, just actually picking out that niche and who you want to listen to. So before I get too much farther, because I like to just make sure I break it up, does anyone have any questions about finding their audience? Does anyone have a specific audience that they connect with? So and I'll wait a second or two just to let people go in. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Oh, they want to stop sharing.
Anthony, did you have any questions maybe? Or Sue? I've just opened up the chat box right now, so you should be able to send your information.
So who's sending their chat box? Oh, okay. Oh, I see here. Oh, that's kind of cool. Sorry, this is my first time using the system that you have here.
Yeah, it's quite good, definitely.
Okay.
I see Paul. Okay, don't be shy if you got a question. You know, we've got a great speaker this evening, so ask your questions. We will send you the replay as well.
Okay.
Okay, so probably at the end we might have more questions.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? Like I said, I like this.
Anthony is saying internet marketer.
Internet marketer, cool. So that's your niche. Okay, then part of the reason I also want to know that is because I want to make sure I'm talking to the right people as well. So you're looking to connect with internet marketers. And I'm going to keep going, but just let me know, how have you connected with that audience so far? So just moving forward here, because I don't want to just lose the tempo. So just, and we'll go back to that answer, because I do want to talk a little bit more about that, is once you have your audience, because whether it's an internet marketer, whether it's some other type of audience, you want to start being able to tell stories. And I was touching on this a little bit before. One of the stories I always tell people is, the first day I blogged, this was in January of 2010, and you could see, this is actually the first time I blogged for andynathan.net, which was my main blog. I used to blog there every day for 3 years. Now I blog on startupgap.com a lot more, but I still do blog on andynathan.net occasionally. And the first day I blogged there, I had 5 visitors the entire day. And you know, I had been social media. I had like 40,000 followers on Twitter, and I had 5 visitors that actually visited my site the entire day while I was blogging. It was kind of one of those things like, oh, I guess this isn't as easy as I thought it would be. You actually have to put some work into it. And over the course of the next 3 years, I actually would blog almost every single day, at least every single weekday, for the next 3 years. And I generated over 300,000 visitors to the site. And part of the reason why I do content writing for people now is because of the fact that starting from that day on, I had to teach myself how to blog. I had written articles before that, but I never really had used blogging as a method to drive traffic. And being able to understand how to do this really helped me. But you know, the story of that for me is almost more important, because if I had just gone in and told you, look, I generate 300,000 visitors per day, and I did it through SEO, it wouldn't make as much of an impact. We all love stories. So one of the things that I did last year was I created something called Startup Gap. And this was a series of interviews that I did for the book that I launched called Startup Gap, amazingly enough, by the same name. And the entire premise of the book, and these are all, by the way, these are all done through Google Hangouts, and then afterwards I broke down the interviews into blog posts, and Candace Fowler, who we were talking about before, actually helped me out a lot with this as well. And one of the things that we did was we actually were telling people stories and actually explaining how they did it. How did they go from dreams to success? And people loved it. They couldn't get enough of just trying to understand how people actually did it. is a lot of times you hear the story of like how someone got started, but then they don't tell you what happens in between, what really happened to their story. And to me, the story is the biggest part of what you do. If you can incorporate stories into what you talk about, it will bring life and animation into any content. So that's number two, stories. The third thing that we're going to talk about here is use different media to engage your audience. Now that you have an idea of your audience, you're telling stories, you're letting them know things, tell it to them with pictures as well as words. So I used to be a teacher. I actually have a master's in education, and one of the things that my favorite books when I was a teacher was a book called Multiple Intelligences by Howard Gardner.
Wow. I was a teacher too.
You were a teacher too? Oh, cool. Okay, we have a lot. We need to talk about this then.
Yeah, I love
So
it. Yeah, great.
he, okay, yeah, he had this idea of seven. Everyone has seven intelligences. Actually, I think he added an eighth intelligence, but I read it like 10, 15 years ago, so I never really read the eighth intelligence. But the basic premise that I always got from it was this: if you look at any school, only 17% of all students actually learn by audio, which is the rote lecture format that we use. Most people actually like pictures, which is why I'm showing a picture of a beautiful woman there, because it just actually, oh, you start looking at the picture and you say, wow. Now this one doesn't completely relate to the story that I'm talking about, but I thought it was kind of cool because she was actually staring right at Howard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences, so I thought that was kind of cool. But we all learn in different ways. So photos work for some of us. Videos, experiential learning, where you sometimes have to write. So if I were to tell you, create some way to actually write and actually do this right now and actually create a few different medium, some of you would learn better than me just telling you that, hey, you should actually use different media to engage with people. In fact, during live seminars, a lot of times when they're longer, I'll actually go through and actually have people create a blog post in an hour and a half. It's a great way to actually show people, hey, this is how you create a great blog post and create dynamic content. I don't have enough time to do that here. It's hard to do it also on a webinar. But that's just another idea here. And plus, the final thing here is, if you use pictures of attractive women, it increases response rates by 4.5%, which is the other reason why I used the picture of a pretty lady. So using different types of media, while it might seem random, will actually encourage people to actually read more and learn more about what you're talking about. So I always think of it this way: your content must entertain your readers long enough to engage them so you can educate them on the benefits of your point of view. If you can't actually engage, if you can't actually engage them with the content, and I probably should have just done a quick video for this, but I forgot. So my apologies to not include that. But if you don't use different types of content and different types of media, then you won't be able to engage them and create that dynamic content that you want. So definitely start looking at different ways of creating the content that you want, and don't just think of it in one dimensional. Think about podcasts, think about videos, think about infographics, think about slide shares, which is a big way to generate traffic. Looking at content, it shouldn't just be about how to write text. It should be about other methods as well. The next thing is how to find great topics. So we've already talked about the first three, which is finding your audience, telling great stories, and we're also talking about using good medium. Now, let's put it all together into how to find a great topic for your content. So that all starts with picking the right niche. And I know Anthony said before that it was internet marketing. That's his niche. What I'd also encourage him, internet marketing is kind of a large niche. You might want to chunk that down a little bit, because even for saying internet marketing today, it's kind of a lot of people to hit. You might only want to hit bloggers. You might only want to hit agencies. You might only want to hit digital product creators. Think about specifically who your niche is and target that as much as possible. You're not going to get the entire pie. You want to try and get a little bit of niche and a little bit piece of that pie. So The easiest way to do that is to write a list of 10 questions your clients regularly ask you. We were talking before about picking your audience. This is why one of the reasons why we talked about picking your audience first. If you don't know who your audience is, you won't know how to engage them. So that means that if you could ask a list of 10 questions that your clients regularly ask you, or if you don't know that, you could actually create a survey. You could actually use that and create 10 posts, 10 videos, 10 slide shares, 10 audio posts from it, and you can use that information to create the content that you want to engage your clients. I know that Mike Filsaime talks about this approach a lot. He talks about how to use those 10 questions as a method. Whenever your future clients have questions, you can just direct them to those blog posts or to those videos and say, look, I already answered this question. Check this out. This will give you more in-depth information. It saves you time from having to answer things over and over and over again. And at the same time, you're creating information that's valuable to the people who read it. Next, be interesting and be yourself. Some of the greatest blog posts that I've written were the weirdest, wackiest posts ever. I did a post a few years ago when I was getting started. This is 2011. This is about a year and a half after I had started my blog, and I was really struggling because every WordPress comment system I use seemed to break down, or I get like so much spam it overwhelmed me. I eventually finally found the solution. It's not actually one of the systems up here, but I actually, in order to figure out what to use, I actually did a WordPress comment system. And I did these what I call death matches. And I kept comparing different WordPress comment systems that were out there at the time: Discus, Intense Debate, reCAPTCHA, Bad Behavior, and I figured out a winner. And I took it through system by system and evaluated all these different systems, but instead of just doing a pure product review, I actually did a death match and compared all four of them together to get the final winner. So that was one way that I actually talked about be yourself. For me, it was fun. Another thing here is that I used to use these little quick cartoons. So I would just actually create a little cartoon. There's a site called toondoo.com. It's a really cool tool. And I could create quick cartoons. So I'd have a bear of a weekend. And I just found a bear that was on there and just put a little quote in there. Also, I was on, I'm trying to see, sorry, that's, it's being blocked. Okay. I can't, I think that's the post from ProBlogger down at the bottom. One of the things I did was I got a guest post. I'm going to talk about guest posts in a few minutes because that's one of my favorite ways of generating traffic from engaging content. I was talking initially about how to find the right audience. Well, I use ProBlogger to find clients sometimes. And I had found one of my largest clients off of their job board, made about $15,000 in 1 year just from one client. And I went back to ProBlogger. I said, look, hey, I made all this money from your job board. Can I write a post about how I did it? Now, ProBlogger is a huge blog. This is a huge site. If you've never actually been to ProBlogger, this is probably one of the top 2 or 3 sites about blogging in the world. And to be able to get on this site, it's very competitive. It's very hard. They turn down most of the people. They accepted me immediately for this because they love the concept. Basically, I was giving them a testimonial, and I got to write a blog post on their site. So that's a great way to get an in with people, is to be interesting, be yourself, and think about your audience. And I got to talk about something that was kind of cool for me, and I talked about something I did. So be interesting, be yourself, and see what you could create, because there's so many sites out there right now. I read something recently that we passed the 1 billion mark in terms of sites. There are 1 billion websites in the world today. That means there's one website for every 7 people. The only way to really create dynamic content today is to actually have your own unique point of view. It might be a little weird, might be a little kooky sometimes, but as long as it comes across with the right information, that's all that matters. So I'm going to stop just for questions real quick before I get on to the SEO portion, and just want to see what questions people have.
Okay, I think We had Frederick saying, I want to know how to generate leads into my business.
I'm sorry, I heard something in the background. I don't know what's going on over there. I hear some music and some dancing. Oh, it's a music break.
Glen Designer Outlet Cheshire Oaks. All your favourite designer brands, all in one place. Always up to 10%.
I'm assuming something popped up.
Actually, I just found your post, so I'm going to paste it as well. But Frederick is asking, I want to know how to generate leads into my business.
How to create generic leads. He has a home-based business?
Right, yeah. I think it's...
Can you be more specific about what type of leads?
Okay, what kind of leads are you looking for, Frederick? And then Anthony was saying, how about home-based business owners? So basically, how to connect, how to engage people who are in the home-based business industry, or how to generate leads using a blog.
Try to think. Yeah, I mean, your blog, well, when we start getting into search engine optimization, and I'm going to, here, let me go in. Where's my screen share? So here, like, let's take that. This is sort of will be a nice little interlay into search engine marketing in a second. I'm opening up Market Samurai. I know I have to update this, so give me a second. This might take a little while to load. Let's say you want to find home-based, let's say work from home. How's that? That work? Work from home, home-based business?
Yeah, it should be all right. Work from home. Home-based business.
Home-based business. So let's say you want to find them through your blog posts. What you could do, there's a few things that we could do here to try and find those people. First thing that we could do is we could do some keyword research. And hopefully this won't take too long. If I press the button, it might take a little while. I could actually generate, this is Market Samurai. This is a paid subscription, or this is not a paid subscription. This is a paid application. It's a one-time fee, really easy to use. You could use the Google Keyword Planner tool. I like to use this because it gives me a little bit more information. However, it's a little bit slower. But if I want to find home-based businesses, there's a few things I could do for this. One, I could actually analyze what keywords people are using to search for that. So I could just do keyword analysis real quick and get an idea of what, and then this is not 100% accurate, but like how to make money online. There's 1,500 people searching for this. Now this is a competitive topic. I could actually first of all start looking to see what people are searching for. Now I could actually break this down by the competition, but I don't want to spend time just breaking it down right now because I don't want to spend all the time trying to do a search here. I would start with trying to figure out what keywords people are looking for though. And then the other thing is that you also want to also look at what the competition is doing. What you're going to find out is that there is pretty much a group, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or whether it's on Google Plus or some forum that pretty much covers any, especially for internet marketing. I could almost guarantee that if I typed in right now, work from home, I should probably not get rid of the Google Hangout. That'd be bad. Work from home jobs. Whoops. So work from home, and I'm going to put forum. So there's a work at home forum, there's a work at home, there's a WHM, I think that's for mothers. There's a why do work forum. I guarantee there's a million entrepreneur forums like was it I'm blanking on the name. Digital Point. There's also Warrior Forum. So there's a lot of different forums that you could actually connect with people or who are in this industry and start finding out what people are looking for. So Anthony, I know you're not a work-at-home mom, but you could start taking a look at forums like this one. And this is actually the work at home forum. So this is for men and women, and see what people are talking about. And what you'll start learning is that people are talking about some of the same issues over and over again. This is where you could start getting into the conversation. If you have something that's of value to them, this is where you can start bringing it up. Definitely get involved in at least one forum or one group. The other thing is, so you can see a lot of these different forums, they're going to be the same way, and you can see what people are talking about here. I could also go into Facebook, and oh, my wife drew some cool stuff today. And I can type in here work at home, and you can see here there's already, look at the, oh, Candace is part of this. There's a work at home moms group with 35,000 people. There's a work at home dads group with 1,600 people. So there's different communities here for work at home. So I'm just going to type work at home generic, just so, because I don't know the exact target market. But you can see people are sharing information here. And if I want to join, this is actually a page, not a community. So you probably want to join a community. But you could see here that there's people here that are talking about this, and you can see who's involved here in the side. And you can get involved with them, and you can connect with them. If you really want to build it up, I would start getting involved with the different forums, get involved in social media, and start connecting with your target market. It's not going to be easy. It won't be immediate. But if you spend some time every day just connecting with your target market on social media and on blogs, then you'll make some great connections. Personally, some of my best connections. Oh, sorry.
Another good website as well is Better Networker from Mike Dillard.
I haven't been on that one in a little while, so.
Yes.
Yeah, for MLMers, absolutely. Yeah, and that's, like I said, there's a million different forums for a million different topics. It's about figuring out which one works best for you. I've actually found the greatest success from Skype groups. I mean, just some of the people I meet in Skype groups, they're talking all day long, and I've met some great people in there. So I don't belong to as many groups as I used to, but I have 2 or 3 groups that I check every day just to see what they're talking about. One's actually has a lot of developers, so I can see what developers are talking about. One has a lot of bloggers, and I can find out what they're talking about.
Sorry, how do you do that actually? Finding Skype groups?
It wasn't like it was. Skype groups are a little bit harder to find. It's sort of when you connect with people, you'll start. Like, I know Warrior Forum, if you start connecting with people long enough, some people will let you into the different groups.
Right, okay.
This wasn't, this was more through networking. Like, I met one person, they said, hey, you should join this. Like, if you want to join a Skype group afterwards, let me know. Especially the developer one, I probably couldn't do that much, but if you were interested in like the blogger networking group afterwards, let me know and just connect with me on Skype. It's Andrew Mark Nathan, ANDRWMARCNATHAN, and I'll put that, I think it's at the end with my contact information. If not, you can just ask me later because all my other contact information's there. And I can invite you into the group. That's not a problem. So that's a great way just to get involved with people. But like, you'll find groups anywhere you go. LinkedIn is a lot of. I think I belong even to a LinkedIn work at home group of some sort. I sort of forget where all the groups that I do belong to because I have so many of them. Google Plus is also a great place to meet people. So you can see here, these are the different groups that I belong to in Google Plus. I have a lot of ones that are in Chicago because I live in Chicago, but you can see digital marketing. There's a CXO group, which I found is remarkably good for just finding cool leaders and people for a service business. Marketing enthusiasts. Just trying to look here. So I don't have one specifically, but I have I have a guest blogger one. I have a blog zone one. So there's a lot of different topics, and I'm sure if I did a search for that, I could actually find it. Where's the? Find a group. So let's say work at home. So there you go, work from home. This one has 5,900 people, which for LinkedIn groups is pretty significant. Actually, I take it back. This one has 19,000 people. 5,900 are in my network. That means that they're within 3 degrees of connection to me. Just to give you an idea, LinkedIn has 3 degrees. LinkedIn measures how many people are connected to you up to 3 degrees. So if you go to your home page here, you could actually learn how to connect. You could actually learn how to connect with them. So you could see here, I have 20 million people who are within 3 degrees of connection to me. So what other questions do people have? Actually, let me ask you something. Does that help? Here's the Pro Blogger one. And if I put it in the chat here, would that work?
Yes, it would. I think I've already posted your link there, but you can do it again.
Oh, okay. I saw someone had the question, so okay.
No, so
Then I'm gonna get.
Anthony is saying wellness and beauty. So how to create engaging content for people who are in wellness and beauty. Is it what you mean, Anthony? And Sue, Sherilyn, if you got any questions, don't be shy. Post your question, you know. Andrew is very happy to help you out. Okay, so Anthony is saying yes, it helps. So what about wellness and beauty?
Where I'm looking for the question here.
It's from the top, actually. You know, when you go to the top and then when you scroll down, it's sorted from.
Oh yeah, I see.
One.
Wellness and beauty. Okay. Well, wellness and beauty, same as what I just showed you for the home. Actually, I mean, if you're looking for people in wellness and beauty, it's the same as what you would do for anything else. It doesn't matter what industry you're in specifically. Creating great content is universal. And what I mean by that is, it's not that you're looking to create content that will make it. It's not like you're going to create the same content in health and wellness, or wellness and beauty versus internet marketing. Those are two separate topics, and you're going to write different information. What you will do is you'll use the same approach. You could use videos to talk about wellness and beauty. You could use videos to discuss how to do internet marketing. So in that respect, they're both the same. The only difference is that you have to make sure you find out where your audience is. If you can find out where they're at, you can find everything else out. So, okay. And then I'm going to just go back into the search engine one just to finish it off, just to give you guys some other ideas.
Okay.
And I think so optimizing your content. So can you get me some good SEO traffic? Obviously, we talked a little bit about keywords already. So one of my favorite tools, if you're going to be blogging, to me, there's no better tool than WordPress. I understand that there's other things out there now, like there's Ghost or whatever, and there's Medium and things like that. If you're really trying to set up a business and you want to use a blog to do it, you need to have WordPress. And I'm not saying that I write articles for somebody who owns a Joomla theme company. So I'm not saying that like the other sites are bad. Joomla has some great things. All those other places are good. There's a reason why WordPress has 20% of the world market in terms of websites. It is by far one of the most dynamic contents and communities in terms of everything that they offer to clients. And using some of the tools that they have are just amazing. So one of the best ones is WordPress SEO by Yoast. And I use it, as you can see here, you put in a focused keyword. It tells you if that focused keyword's in the heading, in the title, the URL. tells you where it's in, if it's in the content and if it's in the meta description. Now, you don't want to overdo your keywords anymore. It's not, like I said, this is not 1986 or I'm sorry, 2006 where you would just keyword stuff. Instead, what you're really looking for is you want to put in a keyword here and just make sure that's a focal point for Google to find, but base it around a theme as much as a keyword. So you might not use the same keyword every single time, but do your best to include it in different aspects of the article so you could actually have it so people could actually find that keyword easier and Google could find your article. And Yoast has a great way of actually analyzing that information. So use the tools that they provide. Secondly, I want to talk about guest blogging. So actually, and this goes along with how do we find people in your market. I talked about partners before and tribes. So ProBlogger, I did that because I actually was on their job board forum, and I actually made some money from their job board forum, so I actually wrote there. JeffBullis.com, which is the one to the right, is one of about 3 or 4 people that I've met through Triber.com that I've actually blogged on their site. Now, I've never done business directly with Jeff. He's actually in Startup Gap. He's in the book, so he's a great guy. Interviewed him. He's someone amazing. But what's even cooler than that is that I've done 2 blog posts for Jeff. Both times I've written for Jeff, I've gotten clients. I picked up 2 or 3 clients that brought in just this year about $3,000 to $4,000 in business. So if you're really looking to find out a way to actually get more business and you want to make connections and you want to find your target market, find people who are in your target market who will allow you to do guest blogging. It's great for your search engine optimization as long as you do it correctly. Don't just start putting don't do anchor text and dropping that in there all the time. Just put a link into your site if you can. The second thing is I actually also picked up business from Kissmetrics, and actually Kissmetrics is not a guest blog technically since they're actually a paid client, but I've actually picked up clients from guest blogging from those 2 sites. So when you're blogging on other sites, it's actually a great way to bring in clients. It's also a portfolio builder. Because if you're blogging on other, you could actually say, as seen on Jeff Bullis, as seen on Kissmetrics. It's just like if you're interviewed on a TV station. I've been interviewed on WGN and Fox. I could say, as seen on those shows. You could say, as seen on those blogs. And the right blogs in the right niches are actually not only great for your SEO, they're also testimonials in a sense, and they're also proof that you know what the heck you're talking about. So it's social proof in that sense, I should say. So use guest blogging as a great tool to just not only drive in traffic, but also to drive in SEO traffic as well, and to build up your social proof, and to drive clients from similar markets. And I get more business now from my guest blogging than I do from any other form of marketing, except maybe some of the job boards. So use that as a great way to build up your business.
Great. So that's a way to get more exposure by writing on somebody else's blog.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
Do you actually connect with them according to the amount of traffic they've got coming to their website, or just because you just know them personally, and how do you go about connecting with them?
Well, like I said, Jeff Bullis, I'd actually, I sent him an email. Well, okay, so it's actually kind of funny. This article, this 53 ways to market your Google Plus Hangouts on air, I had known Jeff Bullis from Triber for years. We had connected through Triber, and the way that we had actually connected was we started sharing each other's articles. So we had been sharing each other's articles for years, and we had never talked. And I was talking to a larger social media blog, which shall remain nameless, and she turned down about 20 of my articles. And the only reason why I kept going at it was because they're such a large social media site. And one of them was this 53 ways to market your Google Plus Hangouts on air. Well, I wrote this article, and I picked up 2 clients just directly from that article. And the reason why I sent Jeff a message was because after I couldn't get in with her blog, I sent him an email saying, hey, look, I have this great article. I already wrote it. Would you be interested? He said, yeah, this is awesome. He posted it like 2 or 3 days later. So we had never talked until then, but I just sent him an email. I said, we've been in Triber together. We've shared each other's stuff. That's how we know each other. So give a point of reference when you're doing it. If one of the people that I interviewed for Startup Gap, I was going to say Kim Roach. She's great for traffic. That wasn't
Fantastic.
not Kim Roach. I'm blanking on her name. Oh man, how am I blanking on her name? She's an awesome person. Christy Hines. Christy Hines is considered like the queen of guest blogging. She actually has some great resources on it. I know the guys from Unbounce. Ali Gardner wrote some good stuff on it. Neil Patel has written some great stuff on how to get people for guest blogging. The key here is that if you're going to ask people to do to write a guest blog post for them, don't just go and say, hey, I want to have a post so I can get a backlink. Actually, before I should have mentioned that earlier. You don't go up there and say, hey, I think I have a great post that'll get me a backlink from your site. Your idea is to sell them on why it's beneficial for their site. And just like the ProBlogger one was relevant because of the fact that it was a testimonial of how powerful their job board is, I'm sure that they're now sharing that with other people, showing people how they actually have helped people with their job board. If you could prove enough value to people over time, then you could do whatever. Then you could basically write your ticket into writing for people, and that's really what it was. With Jeff, it was the fact that I've known him for a long time. With ProBlogger, it was the fact that I actually had I had earned money, and actually one of the clients I had actually picked up from the ProBlogger job board was actually Kissmetrics, and that's how I connected with them. So, and there's other ones as well. I'm just showing you 3 out of probably hundreds of guest blog posts I've written in the past few years. I know that some of the posts that I have actually deepened the relationship. It's a way for me to continue connecting with people, and a lot of times it goes back and forth. I've had people that I've done guest posts for, Gail Gardner from GrowMap. We've done guest posts on each other's sites numerous times, and I mean we've done a lot of business over the years because of that. So, and it's just, you know, it all started though with the guest blogging, and a lot of that started with a Skype conversation 4 years ago. You'll be amazed at what you do now, how it affects what you're doing years from now. Because when you're building up those connections, you want the instant connections because you're new and you need money, and I get that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be going after money now because you need to make a living. But you'll be even shocked more if you just build those relationships over time and see where they lead. And the thing with Jeff Bullis, we had never talked, and that led to a lot of business coming my way from 2 or 3 clients. Same thing with the ProBlogger stuff. It's great exposure, and it helped me continue to talk to people. So that's guest blogging, and that's pretty much it. And you know, I forgot to fill out the testing and try. Oh, that's what it is. I didn't even realize I set that up. I thought I wrote something in there. Final thing, I do more than I actually realized. I actually set up a little creativity in there. Final thing about SEO, it's about testing and tracking. The one thing with SEO that people don't realize is that you won't get it right the first time. In fact, I could probably name about 6 or 7 different parts of SEO where I had no clue what the heck I was doing, and it turned out to be wrong, and I didn't know that for a long time. If you don't test, if you don't track, if you don't use things like Google Webmaster Analytics, or Google Webmaster Tools, or Google Analytics, you're going to have problems. So analyzing what you do, you will never know what works right away. Just keep testing and keep figuring out what works best, and it doesn't mean that you have to constantly be testing and not actually doing work. Test as you go and just learn and track and see what happens. Analyze your results, improve from them, and move on. Taking action is huge here, because if you just analyze, then the analysis by paralysis, which has been overused as a word, it really is true. And then just rinse and repeat. Keep figuring out. I had one keyword on my blog in 2011 that brought in 50,000 no, it was 100,000 visitors. Once I figured out how to use that keyword, I figured out a second one that worked just as well and got another 50,000 visitors from that. So with two blog posts, I was able to drive in about half of my traffic. Now, I wrote 1,000 blog posts, so it wasn't like the only traffic came from those sites, but those two posts drove the majority of it. And the moment I figured that out, I just kept figuring out what will work the same as those two did. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any more questions? Hello? Aurora,
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I just muted myself, sorry. Frederick was saying that he still doesn't understand how he can connect with his target audience, which are people in the home-based business niche, and he still doesn't understand how to connect with them to create dynamic content and get leads and make sales.
Okay. So like I'm trying to scroll down, trying to find it. Like how the content will create leads, you mean?
Yeah, if I go back to his question, he was saying...
Okay. So here.
Yeah, but his question wasn't really answered. And his question was, well, it was home-based business. That's the only word I've got.
Okay.
And I want to know how to generate leads into my business using blogging and using, dynamic content.
Okay. Well, one of the things I would say is if you're creating dynamic content is that you want to start getting email leads. So here, hold on. So this is my blog, startupgap.com. And if you go to StartupGap, this will actually work better for you because I have it set to not annoy the living daylights out of people completely. Hopefully my Internet Explorer works because I don't use it that much. So this is Internet Explorer. I'm trying to see if I can get this to work. Oh, come on. Man. I have a pop-up that I have on this site that comes up once in a while. A lot of the biggest ways to get traffic, continual traffic and continual business to your site, you're not going to get people the first time to buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have at the top my book, which is a smaller purchase, but it's $11. All right, 11 or it's 12. I'm sorry, it might be 12. Forgot the. Anyways, it's a smaller price. The point is, I don't go in and I don't ask people to pay for something that's $100 right away because they're gonna get freaked out. 999 times out of 1,000, any prospect will get freaked out. What will work though is if you give them free information. So I have a ebook here that says get your free copy of 101 online tools. A lot of what I'll do is I use free offers to get people onto my list. And then I keep delivering the free blog content. Oh, I got a little funny with the video, so sorry if it's a little weird. I created a free 101 free online tools. So it's a quick ebook that I created, and I put a testimonial from someone that someone had actually given to me on LinkedIn below that, talking about how I was a true go-giver. This is actually someone. Oh, ironically, this is from someone in a tribing group that I met. So it wasn't from Triber, it was from a different group called TSA, which is now defunct. It used to be Blog Pro or Blog Buzz Pro or something. Kim Castleberry used to run it. I think she might still be running some version of it, but I'm getting off topic. Point is, I use the content to get people to my site. When I get people to my site, a lot of times for the first time, there's a pop-up version of what I'm showing you here. It's a smaller version. It says get your free copy of 101 free online tools. What I really want people to do is sign up for my free online tools, And when they do, they go onto my email list. When they get onto my email list, then I can email them about stuff that's going on. I have an autoresponder that talks about different information. I give lots of freebies away, and I use the content as a generator for that. So I might give away a lot of blog. I do free blog content. I have free ebooks. I have sometimes free videos that I give away. I'll do free video trainings. And the point is that over time, it starts generating more and more traffic. And with that, and with time, and the more you give, you've heard of the idea of giver's gain. The more you give to people, the more you could generate the leads. Because the more I give information to people, the more they trust me, and they see me as an authority figure. So I think that a lot of what you're talking about is how do you generate leads. It's not just something that happens immediately. It's about how you create content that actually helps people and that builds that relationship. It's good that you're looking at it as a lead generation tool. That's fine. But also look at it as a way to build trust. You might not get a lead directly from the blog, but you might get a lead from your email list. And that lead from the email list might come from a blog post that you wrote 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Don't look at it like 1, 2, 3 in terms of a traditional step program, or like when you're doing leads or taking people through a generic sales process. Look at it as a circular process that continuously works over and over again. And the more you work on generating people to get into your email list, the more you deliver great content, the more you actually help them with their problems, the more they're going to talk about you, the more that they're going to trust you, the more that they're going to want to buy your products. And the people that I've seen who've wanted to use my services have been the ones who have appreciated what I've done for them over the years. And it really does make a difference. So the blog is a trust vehicle. It's not a lead generation tool in that respect. And that's one of the hardest things for people to get their mind around. I've said to a lot of people, I have a lot of clients who do local business, and I've said to them, look, you will probably never generate a lead directly online. And that's not to be rude. It's to say that you're going to want to talk to them afterwards. If you're selling something for $100 or $200, more than likely someone's going to want to talk to you. And that's okay. If they talk to you on Skype or whether they talk to you on the phone, it doesn't make a difference. They're going to want to hear your voice and just have a conversation. Now, that's not always the case, but 9 times out of 10 that does happen. Now, I've found a lot of clients over the years that have actually not needed to talk to me about articles. And a lot of that's been because of the portfolio. I send them a list of 10 articles that I've written. And when they've seen all the articles I've written and all the cool stuff that I've talked about, they don't need to talk to me. So in that respect, you will find people who don't need to talk to you, but don't just expect that people will just automatically buy the product directly. Use it as a way to build that use that list, and use this as a way to build that list and to create something that will work time and time again. Does that help?
So Frederick, if you can let us know if that helped. I will connect with him. I think that the main issue that people have is to understand how they can use the internet in order to generate leads with that for their target audience. Would it be in home-based business, or would it be for brick and mortar business? And what is very interesting is that it's the same thing as belly to belly, but you've got a computer in between. So for people to be able to feel you, to like you, and to decide to work with you because they don't know you is, as you said, Anthony, to have a blog, write blog posts, you bring some quality information that people would need to help them grow their business or whatever they are doing. So now you are not simply somebody posting something, you are somebody who is bringing value to their own lives, to their business, and they want to know you more. They like what you're doing, and it's how you start working with people. So it's actually quite simple. Where are the people? In forums, um, uh, as we just said during this webinar, and then connect with people. You don't have to hide behind a computer. Just connect, talk with people.
Absolutely. So, okay. Well, I think if you do have other questions for me, just first of all, this is the book. If you want to get a copy, startupgap.com/Aurora, and it's called Startup Gap. So this gives a lot of talks about the stories of entrepreneurs, just going through their stories and the secrets that they found, because you're asking about how they did it, and this talks about the secrets behind their success, and a lot of cool things have happened along those ways, and you can actually learn from them. A lot of these people are internet marketers, they're bloggers, so you could actually gain from their experiences. So that's, again, startupgap.com/Aurora. And then the other thing is, if you want to connect with me afterwards, here is my information.
Fantastic.
And I do not have my Skype information on there. Most of the time a lot of people don't ask about Skype, so I don't generally include it in there. I just like to make sure people connect with me. So if you connect with me on Google Plus or with me on LinkedIn, send me a message. Actually, probably best if you send it through LinkedIn. If you send it through Twitter, it will never get seen. But if you send me a message through LinkedIn or Google Plus, I could send you a connection. It's actually the same Andrew Mark Nathan on LinkedIn is the same one as on my is the same as on my Skype. So the spelling's already there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, because I really like the information about being a guest blogger. I thought about it like ages ago, but never came around it, and I think it's a great way to get free exposure, and even to meet some other leaders, people who have a blog, and it's fantastic. And also using forums, because it is true that the reason why people are connecting in forums is because they want their questions to be answered. So by you being on the forum, they are very specific. They will tell you exactly the way it is, what they like, what they don't like, and you are going to be able to read their pains. So if you are able to read their pains and their problems, and you come up with an answer in your blog, this is quite phenomenal. Like, the article that you wrote, Andy, was
Which one is?
depth.
Oh, the blogger one.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun to write. It was like, here's how I did it. So
53 ways. I was reading, was like, okay, it must be about 10 or 12, and then I just carry on. What?
Yeah. Now next week, you guys are gonna have a sudden surge in promotions for this event, for this webinar.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, it was, you know what, there are so many different things that you could talk about, and actually that 53 ways, speaking about SEO, one of the cool things about writing on established sites is that your SEO when I write on Jeff Bullis, or when I write on Kissmetrics or ProBlogger or some other site like that, they have better SEO metrics than I do. So just being on their site, you could write an article on your site and it might not go anywhere. And that same article on a bigger site like Kissmetrics or Jeff Bullis might be the thing that could actually get you on the first page of Google for something, because they actually have the traction to do it. So, and one of the things, excuse me, I'm just going to go back for a second. If I could go back far enough. Is one of the things that I don't know if you can completely see it from here, but you can see with Kissmetrics, there were like 1,000 or more shares between the different social networking stuff here. So you can see there are 559 tweets, 115 likes. And Jeff Bullis had like 1,200 retweets on this post.
Mm.
And he had somewhere, it was somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 shares altogether, which actually there's a site called Share Tally. So final thing we're talking about today. An added bonus, which I wasn't even going to discuss. So there's a site called Share. Oh, it's sharetally.co, not .com. Sorry. And you put it in there, and apparently it's not saying it's valid. I don't know why. Oh. And make sure you have the HTTP in there, and it actually gathers all the information, and you can see the shares that are included in here. And you could just look through, and you could see that there were 251 Google Plus ones. There were 54 pins, 17 comments on Facebook, 184 shares, 93 likes, 98 shares on Google Plus, 166, 220 people buffered the post.
Powerful website. I love that.
So that's sharetally.co, and you could actually check that. And you know, sometimes when you're writing for people, they want to know how many shares and retweets and everything else come on each of your posts. So being able to show them a site like this with all the metrics is very powerful. So that's pretty much it. And thank you. I'm going to stop the screen share.
Thank you so much. I just have a last question. So when you actually, you know, like for the 53 ways, how then from you sharing this post, were you able to monetize it, or how did people connect with you and basically for you to make a sale? How did that happen?
Oh, for the 101 free online tools?
No, it was for the 53 ways to market your Google Plus. Was it from this one you made some money?
It was the Jeff Bullis one. Yeah, the Jeff Bullis one. Yeah, if you, I have at the bottom. There's a at the bottom of the post. There was a link.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the link was anymore. I wrote this at the beginning of this year, so. Hold on. It's hard to remember what I wrote in January because I write about 1,000 to 2,000 words every month, or every day. So you can see here at the bottom of the post, it just said, check out his blog. That was all I put in there. Actually, that's a pretty weak one. Actually, that's a weak call to action for me. But I have check out his blog, and it goes to Startup Gap. And it was a little bit different. It was set up a little bit differently, but you can even see here that it goes to Startup Gap, and people found my information and they contacted me. They contacted me on the forum, I think. There was a contact form which I could probably put. I took down my menu, which I don't know why I did that. I was probably playing around with it. I forgot. So. I have a contact form on my menu, which is not here right now, and they just contacted me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, this was a pretty weak call to action, and the fact that I got 2 calls from this that actually brought in business. So pop over and go check out his blog. Okay.
Yeah, just there. I mean, we can barely see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally when I do, I mean, the other thing is, like, there's a lot of times when I'll put in stuff here, like, you could see, like, I'll put in, like, an image, and I'll make sure that my name is somewhere in there as well, just so, like, when you're going through, like, this is a Google Hangouts, a Google Hangout community that I run. So, like, I'll start subtly promoting stuff that I do throughout. But this one was kind of light, and part of it was because this was like, I think he actually made me change. I think he made me change my call to action. I think he was initially going to my free ebook offer, and he told me no. So I just said, I think I just created this like in 30 seconds.
which is really not a problem because there were so many shares, so many tweets, so many likes, that if people was if the people were really interested in it, they would check your website anyway. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, oops.
So that's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate. And for those who couldn't attend the hangout this evening, I will be sending you the recording. And remember to get his book. You know, when you will check the replay again at the end, you will see the link to have access directly to his book. So thank you so much, Andrew, and have a fantastic evening.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.